There's an invisible thread that runs through every experience in your life. Whether it's bright or dark, nothing stays the same forever. The pain you feel today, the uncertainty that overwhelms you, the fear that seems to settle in your chest, all of it is part of a constant flow, like clouds crossing the sky without getting stuck in it. Imagine a river. Its waters are never the same from one moment to the next. What was a turbulent current yesterday might be a calm pool today. That's what life is like. That's what your heart is like. When we go through tough times, we tend to believe that the suffering is here to stay, that there's no after. But even the fiercest storm eventually fades. It's not magic or denial. It's the simple truth that everything changes. On days when your health falters, when your body aches, or your soul feels fragile, remember this: you're not trapped in an eternal moment. What feels heavy today will shift tomorrow. Sometimes the transformation is slow, almost imperceptible. Other times, it arrives suddenly, like a ray of sunlight after days of rain. But it comes. It always comes. Here's a simple exercise I like to recommend for when anxiety visits. Take a deep breath and silently repeat, "This too shall pass." Not as a wish, but as a reminder. Notice how the phrase resonates within you. At first, it might be hard to believe, but with time, you'll find that those words become an anchor. They don't deny the pain expectantly, but they don't eternalize it either. Life is wise in its impermanence. If joy doesn't last, neither does suffering. Both are waves in the same ocean. And you, at the center of it all, are vaster than any wave. In the midst of pain or uncertainty, a question often arises: why me? It's natural. We want to make sense of suffering, as if understanding it would make it weigh less. But sometimes, the answer isn't in the why, but in the how. How are you inhabiting this moment? With struggle or with kindness? Think of a tree during a storm. Its branches bend under the wind, some even break. But the tree doesn't resist. It doesn't yell at the sky or try to be stronger than it is. It simply exists, letting the storm pass through it. There's wisdom in that surrender. It's not resignation, but profound intelligence. The storm is already here. Wasting energy denying it only exhausts you more. It's the same with physical pain, with seemingly endless anxiety, with fear of the unknown. When we stop fighting what's already happening, something in us lightens. The pain doesn't necessarily vanish, but it stops being an enemy. It becomes something passing through our territory, like the seasons. Try this right now, wherever you are. Instead of clenching your fists or holding your breath against what you feel, open the palms of your hands. Let your breath flow, even if it's shaky. Notice what happens when, instead of rejecting the experience, you say, "Yes, you're here." It's not surrender, it's courage disguised as stillness. The present is the only place where life happens. The past no longer exists, and the future is just an idea. When we stop escaping what is, we discover something surprising. Even in pain, there are spaces of calm. Small moments where light filters through, like between the leaves of a forest. It's enough to notice the weight of your body in the chair, the sound of your own breathing, the touch of air on your skin. In those details, the mind quiets. And in that quiet, there's relief, that doesn't depend on circumstances changing. There are moments when pain, whether physical or emotional, becomes so intense that it feels like it isolates us from the world. We feel misunderstood, alone, frustrated, as if no one could truly accompany us in what we're going through. But there's a beautiful and simple truth. You're never as alone as you think. Imagine a candle lit in a dark room. Its flame is small, but its light reaches farther than it seems. That's what compassion is like. It can start as a whisper within you, a simple, "This hurts, and that's okay." It's not a magic fix, but it's an act of love toward yourself. And that love, however small it seems, has the power to change how you experience suffering. We often treat ourselves harshly when we're at our most fragile. We demand strength, reproach our vulnerability, as if pain were a failure. But what would you do if someone dear to you were in your place? Would you tell them to hurry up and heal, to stop crying, that it's not a big deal? Probably not. You'd offer them your presence, your patience, your unconditional care. Why not do the same for yourself? The next time the weight feels too heavy, gently place a hand on the spot where you feel the pain, your chest, your stomach, your temples, and let that gesture be a silent message. I'm here. I won't abandon you. It's not about erasing what you feel, but about stopping the extra suffering that comes from fighting it. And there's more. Compassion doesn't have to be just for yourself. Sometimes, we ease our own pain by opening up to others. It doesn't require grand gestures. It's enough to remember that right now, thousands of people are breathing under the same sky, carrying their own wounds. You're part of something much bigger than your pain. You're part of humanity, with its frailties and its incredible resilience. In the darkest moments, a question often haunts us. How much longer can I endure this? We crave certainty. We long for someone to tell us when the pain will end, how the illness will resolve, what lies beyond the fear. But life rarely offers those answers. And in that space of uncertainty, a paradox is born. When we stop seeking guarantees, we find a different kind of peace. Think of how a child sleeps, trusting, without worrying about what tomorrow will bring. They don't know if it'll be sunny or rainy, but they don't need to know to rest. That's the mind in its most natural state. Open, without demands, accepting that some questions don't yet have answers. Or maybe they never will. And that's not failure, it's the reality of being alive. On days of fragile health or persistent anxiety, try changing the question. Instead of, "Why me?" or "What did I do to deserve this?" ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" Not to force meaning onto suffering, but to discover what small truths the experience reveals. Sometimes it's patience. Other times, it's the humility of accepting help, or simply the reminder that you're human, both vulnerable and valuable. There's a story about a man lost in a forest during a storm who found shelter in a cave. In the dark, he trembled, imagining what dangers might lurk. But at dawn, he discovered the cave had no exit. It was just a hollow in the rock. What had protected him wasn't a safe place, but the passing night. That's how our fears often are. What feels like a prison with no escape is just the temporary passage of darkness before the light returns. Look back on your life. Think of the pains you thought were insurmountable that are now just memories. They haven't stopped mattering, but they no longer take up the same space in you. You're living proof that storms pass. And when this one passes, you'll carry something only adversity can teach. The inner certainty that even in the deepest uncertainty, a part of you remains untouched. You don't need faith in the future. Faith in this moment is enough. In your ability to breathe through it, to hold yourself even when you can't see the path. Because the path isn't out there. It's in every step you take, even the shaky ones. It's in every time you choose to believe, even for a second, that this too shall pass. And it will. Not as a miracle, but as the simple, sacred flow of life. If these words have touched you, we warmly invite you to join our community at Pure Zen Life. Subscribe to our channel for more reflections, practices, and inspiration to help you navigate life's waves with mindfulness and compassion. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Together, we can support each other to keep moving forward and cherish every second of this precious existence. Namaste.